Hey everyone, hello, hello. Sorry, I'm gonna show my face. That's better. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. This is the Women Lighting the Way live panel number 2. So you might have missed number 1 yesterday, in which case there is a replay available all over the place. And this is the number 2. So this is the live panel with mostly our European friends, European speakers, but we were supposed to have our Australian speaker, Katish. She's not feeling so well today, so we're sending wishes and healing vibes, and she's not here. But we have Ruth today, Ruth Sandoval, who was not supposed to be here. She was supposed to be here yesterday because she's from the US, but surprise, here she is. I'm trying to have your names appear, but I can't seem to be doing that for some reason. Yesterday they appeared, but not today. Who knows? So Ruth, can you just wave so that people know who you are? Hello, welcome. So welcome everyone. I am Isaiah. This is the second live panel for the Women Lighting the Way Summit. I'm really very excited to have a chat with those of you who watch the talks, so the attendees watching us, but also to have the speakers in a little more informal way than they're recording talks, so that you can meet each other and meet the speakers. And before starting, I would like to say that this is year 2 for us. So this is the second year that we do this Women Lighting the Way Summit with Chris. And my mind is blown by all of you speakers. This has been an honor. And I am so happy and so proud for each and every one of you, for your journeys, for your stories. And I would like to start by saying thank you, everyone. So, I have a few questions, but we can also go sideways like we do. I am going to start by maybe asking the first question, and I'm going to insist on that one because it's one of the things that we discussed so much while prepping the summit. It's about the authenticity and the vulnerability. How was it for each of you to be asked to be authentic, to talk not about your work, not about what you do, not about what you sell, basically, or what about, not the promotion, but to go deep and talk about yourself? How did it feel? How did you grow or not through this process? And I don't know, whoever wants to talk can just talk.
I'd like to jump in here because my talk, if you watched my talk, you'll see that I had the tech issues. I had this stop and start thing going on. And I got hung up in my mind, even though this is my second year, I got hung up in my mind about what I was going to say. So I would talk and then just turn it off. And then I realized, oh yeah, we're supposed to just be ourselves. And then I had the mindset of just bringing you all into my living room. And when I did that, it was just me talking to other women. And I was able to get rid of all of those expectations. And so for me, once I started doing that, it felt very natural and it felt good.
Good. Thank you. I was so impressed with your tech issues because it was like so kind of one of those the universe is talking to you situation, and then the way that you incorporated kind of this to your talk was for me kind of a huge lesson of listening to what's around and how we can harness that to our lives and our businesses.
Thank you,
Thank
Isaiah.
you.
Yeah, and I'm actually a tech person. So for it to happen to me that way and for me to record an entire video and have it not play, that was unheard of because I'm tech support for others. So I thought that was totally universe talking.
Absolutely. Gisela, how did it feel to go and talk about you? And I know that your talk is one of the most original ones we've had. So I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who's not watched it. Go and watch it. It's amazing. And by the way, for anyone listening, there is absolutely still a possibility to register for free to the whole summit. If you've not watched all the talks, 7 days of replays, there's freebies, giveaways, everything is still on. I mean, even if the lives are now over, the replays are on. And if you've not watched Giselas, go and do that ASAP.
Thank you. I think the vulnerability is more while talking, I was very self-conscious about the language, as you know, English is not my first language. So there were, different things going on. Okay, am I authentic while not speaking my mother tongue? But at the same time, I noticed that I'm really me when I'm talking in English as well. So there's like all those voices. Are you okay? And then checking in with the things I do, and that was stepping up into the English language, into that power language for me is really like, okay, can I really do that? And yes, so and so that was for me never done that before, really want to do that, and it really helped me to step up and to recognize, oh man, I do know my story. And I really want to take that further.
Yeah, thank you. Lisa, how would you discuss your going into the sometimes not so fluffy places of your story?
Well, I usually don't have much of a problem, and there's an echo with someone, so maybe some people need to mute
maybe
themselves.
maybe everyone can mute themselves when you're not talking, so we don't have sound issues.
So, well, I do often go into my stories or talk to people about that, but that's usually in a one-on-one setting and not like broadcasted all over the place. So this time it was like with the most vulnerable topic of my life. So it, on the one hand, like with the tech and the recording, everything was the easy part, and finding the balance between, yes, telling my story and telling what I went through, but also I know that I am a person who is encouraging and motivating, and I don't like to dwell too much in the misery, so to speak, and sort of find the balance of not like of telling the story while still giving a hope in the process. So that was kind of the thing for me. Plus this, like my OCD has always been like the topic that I try to hide as much as I can, because there's part of me that believes that it means I'm broken. And so nobody should see it. I mean, we all have these places in ourselves. And so for me, this whole summit and the experience of speaking about it in the open is like finally making peace with it. It's part of my life. It's part of me. It doesn't mean I'm broken. And it doesn't have this hold on me anymore, because I don't have to hide it. It's already out there. So I've taken my power back, so to speak. And, that felt very liberating.
Yesterday, one of the main words that were repeated by our speakers was growth. Like the experience of going through the process of writing our stories, finding our stories, uncovering, deciding, daring to then speak about whatever it was in public was very much experienced as a growth process. Would you agree with that, Tracy?
Let me unmute. Yeah, I think, Lisa, you brought up a really important point. It's owning it in a different way, and I was able to let go of shame that somehow all the things that had happened and led me to the point where I was a bit of a mess were somehow meant that I was less than, and I have carried this bullshit thing that everything is my fault. And luckily my sister took me off to the Akashic Records, and I was able to see where that came from and feel and let that go. I mean, it's a process like everything, but owning it, sharing it, letting go of the shame of it, and hopefully helping other women, other people get something from it, I think is such a turnaround. It's so pivotal. I think I'll leave it there, but I found it obviously challenging, tech challenging, every which way challenging. I'm not going to lie. Poor Isaiah. And then guess what? I've been offline all since it started. I had no electricity. Yesterday, I felt so ill. I just couldn't. It was very interesting timing. So I've just let it go. Today, I feel better, and I have got electricity, and I've got Wi-Fi, and I've got lipstick. So I'm living my best life.
Yeah, I think that, you know, it's no surprise to me that everything should all the resistance would show up, and all the upping, as Gay Hendricks would say, so the upper limiting problems. Whenever we reach a new level of whatever, all hell breaks loose, you know. And you didn't have electricity, I didn't have electricity. Just 10 minutes after last night's panel finished, the whole of the electricity collapsed in this area. I'm in Greece these days, and it collapsed for 3 hours. So it was like, and that was 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes after I finished working on the summit.
I blame the Queen passing away.
I don't know, but it's obviously everything is going to arrive.
Yeah. Like, what is going on? I mean, it's Mercury retrograde, but it's so much more than that.
But the fascinating thing for me is that still you're here. Still, your talk is recorded. Still, you've gone through the process, and I think that,
and
you know,
you're still talking to me as well, which is
and you know, if I turn to Vivian now, an hour ago, Vivian thought that she was coming to this panel in 4 hours, and I said, or 5, 6, 7 hours. She had the wrong timing, and it was like, okay, maybe she won't come. You know, I wrote to her, no, sorry, you have to hurry. We're going live in an hour. And I was like, maybe she won't be able to. And that's life. I think it's very representative of what happens during the creation of something like that, because we realized with Chris that it's way more than a tech issue or a tech conversation about holding a mic and recording a talk. When we ask people to talk about themselves, as I was saying, a lot of things come to the surface, including wrong timings and forgetting to be there. So how is it for you, Vivian? Because you too have this English is not my first language situation.
I do, yes. Well, for me, yeah, it's luckily I'm here, but I was, and actually I planned my weekend to, to have the panel at 8 p.m. my time. But anyway, so yeah, I had, for me, it was challenging to tell my story in English, even though, my English is very good, as you can see. But it feels really different. This is not, I'm not new to speaking. I'm not new to sharing my story. I've been in business for around 12 years, and storytelling has always been a big part of what I do. So the story that I share in the summit, it's not the first time that I tell it. I've actually told it many times, online, live, but it was the first time that I told this story in English. And it felt so challenging because it felt like something completely different. It felt like the first time. And it's amazing how when you revisit something, revisit a time of your life, like in a different language, you get like different insights and different feelings, and it feels different to put it into words in a different language, right? And for me, it was it was a very inspiring experience to revisit that story that I had told like so many times, you know. So I think like I know all the angles and I can tell it from many different angles, and I can focus on specific details, and you know, because I've told it like so many times. But then looking at it in English felt like so different, and it felt like I was talking about it for the first time. And then this morning I saw my talk again, and I thought like, wow, you know, listening to myself talk about this felt like a different person, you know, and it felt like it was really intriguing because it didn't feel like me. It felt like as if I was listening to one of the speakers, you know. But it was I think that I could like grasp a different dimension to the story that I hadn't looked at before. It's like a nuance, a different nuance when it's told in English. So yeah, for me it was an incredible experience of growth. I normally you know, I'm very much used to talk about myself because I do it all the time. But yeah, doing it in a different language felt like something completely new and completely different. And yeah, I'm very, very, very fulfilling actually. So thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. And finally, Trudy, darling, how was it for you to, because a little similarly to Vivian, who is actually kind of using the summit, not you, I don't like the word using, but, you know, jumping on this summit experience to open up an English branch to her business. Well, you are, Trudy, at the beginning of your business experience or journey. And so how was it to start with, you know, kind of jumping in at the big end of the pool, the deep end of the pool to start with, because so many business people or spiritual business people avoid their stories and you know, to be courageous enough to dare to tell your story day one of, you know, even before you actually start a business. So yeah, how did it feel?
I loved every minute of it because I'm not scared. I used to be really scared about a lot of things, even though I pretended I didn't or I wasn't scared. So to be able to, when my journey started 8 years ago, and it was about the nitty-gritty of the story, that was quite liberating. And then this time round, talking about my story, because I'm so excited about the magic and what I found, that telling the story, it was actually a joy this time round. And not that it was funny, but I could see the humor, I could see the irony in it. So yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I love jumping in with both feet. It just, I don't know, I just love just diving in, getting to grips with it and running it with it. And then when there's bumps along the way, that's all good because it's all part of the journey. It's all part of navigating life. So yeah, I absolutely loved it. So thank you. Thank you. Brilliant.
My
Loved
pleasure. Now, my next question to all of you, and again, I'm not going to go through, maybe you don't have anything, but I was interested if, because one part is you telling your story, but another part is you telling the story at the same time as 12 other women are telling their stories. So did you listen to the other talks? Did you resonate? How did it feel to be in the company of 12 other authentic stories and women daring to go there?
I can add
loved it.
something to that. I watched all of the talks, and it was very validating for me because I think as women or as humans, but mostly women, we do a lot of comparison, and we're always comparing ourselves to one another, and we're not good enough or they're better or whatever. But when I watched all of the talks, I saw the uniqueness of each individual, and it was so amazing to realize that not only other people's stories were valid just the way they were, but also mine. And so I felt in good company.
Thank you.
What I noticed is, I mean, my topic, and which I'm really grateful because that just came out of that experience. The topic is the hero's journey. as the archetype, so not gender wise, but the thing to see, there are so many women, and I watched all the talks, and I was, you know, living with you all, and to me it was so, the word for this summit would be empowerment, to see that we all have struggles and that there is no comparison in, you know, the intensity and the depth, but all of us and the world, we can come out of it, or better, go within and find us. We are already there. And I saw that, like, oh my God, again and again. It's like, yes, if she can do it, I can do it too. And can I be someone who can empower others or shine the light and shine the light, reflect the light back to the other woman? And so it was like that ripple effect that came to, and it was an affirmation that so much power is in us, and that there are phases which come over and over, round and round and round again. And when we are aware of, you know, the universal experiences of going deep, of getting out, of reflection, of awareness, that,
Yeah.
you know, I think you get it. So it helped me, and it reaffirmed my view on our universal yet individual journeys and experience.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wants to elaborate on how listening to other people's talks made you feel? Sure, let's go on, Trudy.
Yeah. When I listened to them all, I know on my journey there were times that I felt quite isolated, and I could hear with all of them that whether they recognized it as isolation or that feeling of aloneness, there was a point when we all felt low. Vivian was saying that they're of the lowest point. There was that isolation, there was that, who do I turn to, where to go? And then from that isolation and that digging deep and doing the whole woman thing and right, we can get through this, we've all transformed ourselves into what, not who we should be, because I think it's always been in there, but we've just grown into ourselves, our future selves that we were always meant to be. So the absolute polar opposites just really touched me, from the isolation, the loneliness, the confusion, to this bursting out of your chrysalis like a butterfly. Was just beautiful on absolutely everybody's talks. It was just truly awe-inspiring and connective for all of us as well, because you do think when you're on this journey and finding out that everybody's got a little bit of magic in such different ways just made me do happy dances every time I listen to somebody else's talk.
Yeah, I must say that one of the very interesting things for me was to have alumna coming back and having a second talk, right? And obviously, you know, both Ruth, Katish, and Christy last year had a story, and this year it's a different story. And that for me is, and I think that this is going to be a thing, Chris, we haven't discussed it, but I'm going to announce it publicly, that we're going to have alumna every year, because I believe that this also gives one of the things very, very, I strongly feel is that this is not a summit that we want stories that only go from I was poor and now I'm rich, I was unhappy and now I'm happy. This is a masculine way of looking at the world and at our stories. It's like from zero to perfect. And I believe this is not how feminine energy works. We go in circles. We have cyclic energies. And you can hear in the stories of the alumna of this year that last year they felt they had completed something. Well, they had completed a cycle. And here comes another cycle with another story that can be difficult or not, but that can be easier or not. But I'm so interested to see that we can represent that this cyclic, inherent feminine energy can show in our stories if we just take time to listen to them as they evolve, and we don't think that because I've recorded it this year, well, then it's finished. This is the end of my story. And then here I go on my white horse with my prince to ride into the sunshine, or the sun, and I think it's really, I loved having the alumna because we could see that again, that this, I'm going to repeat myself, so I'll just shut up. So anyone else want to have a go at how they felt? Yeah, I'm going to unmute you, Tracy, because you were blowing your nose and it was very noisy. But now you can talk.
I forgot what I was going to say now. I guess the thing, there's quite a few things. It's such a process. It is such a process. Firstly, I just have to give you, Isaiah, and you, Chris, like huge kudos, holding the space for all of us in the way that you have done. It kind of blows my mind. Yes, we can talk about the women, and I'll let you others talk about that, because that is a whole other thing too. But just holding the space on every level for all of us is, I take my hat off to you. I really, really do. Because like you've said, Isaiah, it's not about the tech. It was about so many other things. And for me, so one thing about the other women's talks, I will be honest, I've listened to 90%, but I've managed to get a flavour, and some I've listened to all the way. No electricity, more or less, for 2 days. And also, I'm just a lastminute.com, as we know. Just that sense of connectedness, that feeling that, God, we are so freaking powerful. That we are so powerful, and we don't even realize it. Just listening to the things that people have overcome or they've been in the midst of and found a way through it with grace and integrity and wisdom. And that just, honestly, it makes me feel both very small and yet very powerful. And then the other huge thing was just understanding how much both Isaiah and Chris have held during this process. Just incredible. And for me, this has been like a springboard, and I just listening to the other women and all the tech support I've had has really, for the first time, helped me see what it is. I've just grown so much in this time, and how I look at things and how I would have described things 6 months ago, how I am on camera. Huge change. I used to just be like reading a neuroscience paper, and now I feel like I can be me and say, hey, I thought it was this, but now I think it's that. And just honestly, sometimes I didn't know what this panel would be about, so obviously I haven't pre-prepared anything, but I'd say the power of us all and how that ripples out, the power of the individual, yet the connectedness, and freaking hell, how much work you guys have done. So thank you. I'm getting to make some new friends and see you on the screen. I like that a lot. Okay, I'll shut up.
That is.
Oh, Mike, I'll mute myself.
I think that we are very happy as well. I think I can speak for you, Chris, as well. We're very happy that we are slowly creating a growing community of speakers of Women Lighting the Way, and that this group of women is going to be so important in the changing of the world, basically. So thank you for coming, all of you, and being part of this. Lisa or Vivian, did you have something that you wanted to add regarding other people's talks? Whoever.
You go first, Lisa.
Okay. Similarly to what Isaiah already shared, this realization that it's not a story from A to B. It's a continuous process. And I think, at least, like, I have watched the talks, all of you have said that it is still twists and turns. It is still ups and downs. Just because you've completed this part of the journey doesn't mean it stops. It just goes on. And I'm so in awe of how life unfolds there. And like, that's the magic of life, I feel. That's like, it's unbelievable. And also this like, that we each have a bit of the other in each other. We recognize each other in every story, even if it's not like the complete same for us, but like the baseline, we understand what it's like. I mean, we've all been living in a female body on this planet in societies that don't recognize the power and that kind of try to keep us away from the power that we hold inside. And so this is so valuable to see that we are not alone, that each of us has a unique flavor to give to the world, and it's just so amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. You're making me emotional.
I'm getting emotional myself.
We do that to each other, don't we? Thank you. Vivian, darling.
Well, for me, I felt, as all of you have mentioned, I felt a deep sense of connection to all of you. But I haven't watched all the talks yet, but I felt such a deep feeling of connection. And it was really magical to be able to witness the stories of other women and how courageous and how brave they all of them are. It was really, really inspiring, and yeah, I had that feeling too, that I was not alone. That there was like this. I feel that when one of us grows, we all grow in the collective, right? When a woman grows, all of us grow together, right? So, and I felt it so vividly and so clearly while watching all of your talks, and I felt like so inspired. And I really wanted to hug all of you because, I felt like, oh my God, like she's amazing. Oh my God, like, how lovely. And yeah, and I felt like this deep, heartfelt connection. It was beautiful. And also, I love the rawness of the talks, right? Even with, the imperfections, talking like, because some of the talks like felt really, 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 really raw and really authentic and really like spoken from the heart in the moment, and that added another layer of magic to it. Like they are not like the usual talks that you see from trained speakers that have this very neat order and all of that, but which is great. But sometimes you lose the realness and the rawness of the experience, right? What I really loved about these talks was that they felt like they were so real, and I was listening to all of them and having that feeling that we were sitting together, over a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and just chatting and sharing about life, and it felt that way. So for me, it has been a really, really beautiful experience, and I deeply want to thank you, Isaiah and Chris, for doing the work and putting this all together, because I think this, as we talked, Isaiah, when we did that live stream in the group, I think this is very healing, as you have mentioned. This is it's very healing for all of us to be able to share our own stories and to listen to stories of other women. It's really, really healing. So thank you.
Thank you. I have three things that you made me think about. So the first thing is thank you, because the what you say about these are not the usual story talks that you can hear from professional speakers, etc. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that these are not, because this is exactly what we were not aiming at with Chris. We were, and I think that part of us holding the space was exactly to encourage you and push you, all of you, to go into this place where you're not insta ready. This is not the polished version of your story, because this, I believe that, as spiritual business owners, we need to be ourselves. This is the only way that people will connect with us. People buy from people, and the more we are always our authentic self, the more we can connect with other people, whether in business or in life, basically, and the less we hide. Now, the second thing I want to say is, you said you wanted to hug us. I just wanted to remind or to tell everyone, remind some of the alumni and tell everyone that this summit, the origin of it is doubled. So the first one is, most of us, we have been in Joanna Hunter's world. So if you don't know Joanna Hunter, check her out. Amazing mentor, spiritual business mentor. And so I'm just want to, lift a little hat to her, because her community kind of birthed the summit. But then of course, we are going to own, both Chris and myself, that we literally gave birth to the actual, we are the parents, let's put it this way, Joanna Hunter being the grandmother. What was I going to say there? I don't remember. Oh yeah, because Chris's first idea was, let's do a real life summit. Work wife, darling. That's how we call it, work wife, Chris. So Chris's first idea was, let's do a real life summit. Let's do a conference. And of course, it was in the middle of COVID, so that was the other question. And then we realized that we're all across 3 continents, and it was kind of a crazy idea. But I must tell you, I might someday, we might someday, put this show on the road and actually put it into a real space where we can hug each other, and where the attendees can just feel the energy without the screen filtering it, and just have all of us sitting in front of an audience. It gives me chills as I talk about it, I must say. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but it's not out of the question that we do something like that. So thank you, Vivian, for reminding me of this hugging suggestion. So do I have other questions? Of course I do. Now, my next question would be, is there something that you want to share right now with the attendees or with each other? Is there something that, calls to mind? It doesn't have to be, but I still want to give you the opportunity. Go.
Okay, this is going to be really, really random. And Bruce, I'm going to put you on the spot. As I'm sitting here, looking at you, I see my grandmother. I just wanted to share it because I can just, from you. And my grandmother has been gone for 20 years. And you have brought me to tears, because through you, I can feel my grandmother. I just wanted to share that, and I'll shut up now.
Oh gosh, and now you leave us with that. I'm all emotional. Thank you. That's something very important, that we see reflections of our tribes in each other, whether in this summit or elsewhere. I think that it's part of what I say when I say we need a library of stories. We need women stepping out and showing their faces and telling their stories, so that we can connect to the hidden parts of ourselves that can show in Ruth or in Gisela, and that is how women will find their stories to be valid, all of them. You know, not just Marie Curie or Amelia Earhart, not just the heroes, but the mundane, everyday people, and say, oh gosh, this woman looks and makes me feel like my grandmother, and I'm so happy that I could, you know, feel something and connect with that kind of story. So it's just, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Trudy. That's amazing. Ruth, if you want to answer that, obviously you can, you don't have to.
I'm overwhelmed by how we all affect one another. And I've had the same feelings before with others. And I do believe that we channel our loved ones as well, and that it's probably no small thing that you feel your grandmother here right now, Trudy. And if for some reason I am the channel for that in my demeanor, how I look, how I speak, then I'm honored. And I think we all channel just the right thing at just the right moment sometimes for the person who needs it the most. Thank
you both. Thank you. Okay, how do I get out of this? Chris, can you help me out? That's me getting emotional. Okay, so do I have other questions?
I no, you go ahead, Ruth. You were talking anyway.
I just want to share this because it is an experience that when you come back again, my first experience was telling my deepest, darkest, difficult thing. And afterwards, I was done. I was laid out flat. And I know that happened to a lot of other women. But coming back again, it brings you a larger feeling and a larger story, greater love, greater self-love. And so I just wanted to share that was an experience for people who come back again. And I know that's a little out of sequence because we were talking about that before, but I didn't want to forget to say that. Thank you.
No, that's really cool. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that again, because I felt that too. When we recorded our talk this year, so with Chris, in case you've not noticed, we have a keynote talk that is a dual microphone talk. So we discussed together, and it's all about the story of how this summit was born. But we also talk about the parts of us that were able to create the summit. So bits of our stories, of our personal stories. And indeed, I felt the exact same thing, Ruth, that the first time around, it was like, okay, I'm going to get naked in front of the whole world, and it's going to be painful, and it's going to be exhilarating, and it's going to be exhausting, basically. And it did feel exactly like that. In my talk from last year, it's kind of this huge, big thing. This year, the fact that I was all of this was not in the way, let's put it this way. I could find bits of my story that were less visible, less known to me, and that actually explains so much of who I am and why I am half of the foundation of the summit. And I'm really, really glad that I got to speak another time. So I agree, Ruth. All of you should be alumna next year or the year after that. This is a summit that we're going to have 40 speakers by year 5. Does anyone else have anything general, like, or towards another talk? Yesterday, I think people were touched by something in particular, so they shared that, if you want to.
I just wanted to share, like, how much this being together with you all and creating the summit, it feels like a red tent. And in case you don't know what a red tent is, it used to be the place where women gather when they bleed to share these stories, to share the good moments and the bad moments, the hard, the difficult stuff, as well as the joyful moments. And by losing that tradition, we have lost so much. And this is like one step to gather us all together again, to mirror each other, reflect our lights, recognize ourselves in each other, and it's just this whole thing that has been taken away from us is now revived through this summit. So Isaiah knows all about red tents and such, because she is also much in line with the goddess. So it's just beautiful. I see this as a red tent where we get to share our real us. So thank you.
I agree. And we have, as a plus, I would say, it's a red tent that acts as a lighthouse. So it kind of lights around and lights the way for women around the world, basically. And that's our hope, at least. And yeah, I'm so happy and so proud that we do this. And I'm so proud of each of you for owning their story, and being there to share that, and to participate in this library of stories, of women's stories, that I think is going to be crucial, basically. Gisela is suggesting some ideas in the private chat that make me laugh, but they're good. Anyone else has something specifically that they want to discuss right now, or shall I go with the next formal question?
I had something I wanted to bring up, Isaiah.
Be my guest, darling.
So I had something to ask Ruth about her talk yesterday, and I'm not sure how to phrase this, but it was, so the point of your talk, Ruth, making space for you, which I think each woman could talk to this, but I don't know why I was so amazed at, I mean, similarly to Laura's, the radical choice, choosing yourself, but you finding your own space within all the areas of your life where you've made a commitment, your family or your work, and just being like giving yourself permission. It seemed like that's what you were doing. Did it feel like that? Like, did you have a moment where you made that conscious choice to give yourself
I think
the permission?
the catalyst was that our family lost 4 homes in the fires on our family property, and it created a lot of chaos. And I was forced to, like, physically have to figure this out. But what happened was something far greater, and it was not even a decision, because I decided to really look at self-love years ago. And I have to credit Joanna Hunter's group, the Divine Planners, for that, and starting to understand about self-love. But another thing happened. And what happened was I realized that I could make room for myself in my belief system, in my expectations, in what I really believed was okay, what was possible, that was it. And it was shocking to me that it was like me really getting out of my own way, but I never knew I was in my own way until the very moment when my dream, I want to go and live in a luxury apartment. Everything in my brain says, are you stupid? You own a home. Why would you do that? Why would you just go pay rent? Well, because I want to have that experience. And I had to get rid of my thought processes that said, don't do that, right? Or we don't do that. Or you don't just do that. You have family. And everything in me said, your family's still here. You're not going anywhere. You're just going to live your life. So that permission thing had to do with my limiting beliefs. And because I'm a coach, I work with limiting beliefs a lot. It's hard to turn it around on yourself, though, right? Anything we do for others, really hard to turn that around on ourselves. And I started seeing all these different places where I was limiting myself all of this time. And it just kind of, when you have, how can I say this? When you have a realization now, and I'm well past my 50s right now, so I'll tell you that. I look back and something flips now in my belief system. I've had the experience where all of a sudden that shift went back all those years, boom, 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 like here clicking, click, 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 all the way to when I was a child. And that new truth changed everything. in even my memories, changed everything in my belief system, changed my story. It took me back to day one because today I believe something different. I can't even explain that. It was just the most amazing thing, but it has opened me up now to not saying I'm just going to sit here in this house and be grandma and be great grandma and little by little wait until I can't walk anymore. No, I am going to live my life, and I can. And so it's that. I don't know if that answers the question, Chris, but sometimes when we have these experiences, it's hard to put them into words.
This
Yeah,
is
thank
another
you.
thing that, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. This is another thing that I'm so happy that you guys are here, because you are from all continents, you are from different languages, you are from different cultures, you are from different colors of skins, you are from different ages. And I am so happy that this is not a 50-something summit or a 30-something summit, that we have young women and older women, and that we have women who come from this background and that background, because this is more than just an insta perfect thing. You know, I was working with my mom this morning. So I'm 55. My mom is 79 as of yesterday. Actually, her birthday was yesterday. And she's prepping an exhibition. She's a painter and she's prepping an exhibition. And she has no intention of stopping, neither to paint nor to stop living. And waiting for death, basically. She has all intentions of living her life. And I think that we sometimes, whatever the age, stop living and start waiting for death, basically. And that can happen whether you're 25 or 79. And this is why it's so important to see that we can rewrite our stories, exactly just like you mentioned, Ruth, that we can decide at any point. We can find the key that will unlock a different belief, a different way of seeing our story, and write it again, basically, and just feel into the new thing. And the new thing can be completely different. And for me, it connects with what you were saying, Ruth, connects with Tracy, with your neurologic rewiring. It's exactly, it's the scientific way of discussing that, isn't it? And I think that's one of the fascinating things with your talk, Tracy. It's that, and with your work in general, is that it finally makes science and spirituality go together and in the same direction, which means that we don't have to feel weird. It's, science explains it also. So, and I'm so happy that that is the case, and that you are promoting this idea that we can rewire our brains on a neurologic way, just as Ruth is promoting the idea that we can rewire our brains on a spiritual or psychological or coachy way. I don't know if that resonates for you, Tracy, what I'm saying, or not.
And that they are the same. That whichever way you choose to explain it, like I say to my clients, when you feel that emotion, or actually you feel the emotion which is stimulating your pain, it is the same thing. I had a young man who, he was going through some emotional stuff, and I just held the space and said, it is the emotional separation from your daughter that is manifesting in the easiest way it knows how, which is through the pathways of pain. But be very clear, that is a signal that the physical pain is actually also an emotional pain too, and that they aren't separate. And quite a lot of people that go and experience who unfortunately end up in the chronic pain cycle, It is because, and if you go and listen to my talk, sorry to do that, or just get the sense of that it is previous experiences and traumas and emotional difficulties that cause the nervous system to kind of store this stuff. And the irony of ironies is a lot of spiritual practices help the nervous system not to get to that point where it crashes and burns. And so, like, there is no separation anymore for me.
Thank
It is
you.
your soul that's actually in pain. It is the deepest parts of yourself that are in pain. Which is that not your soul and your spirit and who you really are. It is one. So I kind of, that's my it's not my new take, but doing this has helped me really, really fast forward that understanding. Anyway, mute me if you need to.
No, that's all right. This was actually my next question. It is, how did this summit, if in any way, help you guys find, ladies, find or uncover a new paths for your business? Did it open up new possibilities, new ideas, or is it just, keeping up? And again, whoever,
I have to share that watching Gisela do what she does gave me an idea to offer my sessions and offer a personalized weaving to go with it.
Ooh, I'm so excited. This is
And
so
I never
cool.
considered
So
that before. And I thought, oh my gosh, would somebody even want that? But I thought I could pull in their energy from our reading and from our session, and then actually do a weaving and send that to them. So that was my idea after that. So thank you so much for bringing what you do.
That's an amazing idea, Ruth. I would be interested.
Thank you.
Gisela,
Yeah, that really makes me happy, because that's it. Like, that's what I feel I'm about, just to spark things. So yay. And for me, it is really what actually writing the freebie was. I have this book idea for years. And now with writing the freebie, I have the foundation, I have the cover, and it's just a matter of putting it out there on paper and have the editing and everything. And it's not now it's manifesting, it's a thought turning into form. And that is, it doesn't feel new, but it is brand new, because I shared it, spoke it into being, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I put it into a course. So that's because you asked Isaiah about did it spark anything for your business? Yes, it did. It definitely did. And so that's really, really good. And I think I will move forward with the idea of retreats and this, having people experience their creativity just as a manifestation of, yes, I can do it, and I feel it every single day. And when we have insights, if they don't really change our worlds, then we tend to forget them. Or it's like, yes, it's in my diary, but again, with the jewelry and the weaving now, and having symbols, having something tangible that reminds you of your ability to create your life, really recreate. And yeah, that just all the stories that gave me, yes, you are on the right path, just go on, for God's sake. That made me really, really humble and grateful to have it on my fingertips and to go on sharing it. So thank you.
Thank you. It makes me, you know, kind of very happy that because we didn't realize that last year, did we, Chris, when we said, let's do the summit thing. And then the platform that we're holding the summit on is asking for stuff. So it wants a freebie, it wants a giveaway, it wants an offer. And last year, we did not realize how much, in fact, that meant that for some of you, some of the speakers, all those things were not ready. They were not just like there waiting to be shared. And so we realized that it pushed. Thank you for watching us live. We hope you enjoy the rest of the replay. Sorry, I'm talking to the attendee who said they're leaving right now. So yeah, we didn't realize how much we were kind of going to have to push for, hey, you all need a freebie. Hey, you all need this and that and the rest. And for some of you, that was all, you know, fine, nice and ready to go. But for some others, whether you'd never done that before or whether it sparked the inspiration to create something new, a new offer, a new freebie, a new lead magnet or whatever. And it makes me so happy because it's then something that is propelling also your businesses, which I think the world needs desperately. You being more successful.
Well, watching everybody's talks has given me the courage to do the inner work, because we all say that we're doing the thing, that we're doing the work. And obviously I talked to my sister a lot about this, and it gave me the courage to take myself off and work on my own stuff. Then as a result of unblocking something, that the way I responded to it, I've been able to draw again. And the first thing I drew was my guide. So maybe that somewhere down along the line, with the courage of everybody forging through and then seeing Gisela physically in front of us, I was like, do you know what? When I take them off to meet their guides, just tap into that. And I did it to one of my other friends as well. It's not the best, but I think it's pretty good. And I thought, well, maybe people might be scared to go with me where I take them. So maybe I can just offer them a channeled drawing picture of their guide. And just listening to everybody, I was just like, yes, I can do it. And I did. And I was well chuffed with myself. Gave myself a pat on the back. And even my daughter, my youngest daughter, looked at it when she went, Mum, and she gave me a fist bump. I'll take that. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to specify for those of you watching who might not know, Tracy Wilson Kissoon and Trudy Mullins are actually sisters. So when each of them is saying my sister, they're talking about the other one, just so you know, because we know that, but maybe you don't. Yeah, no, I'm really very proud if it sparked anything in your businesses, because there is so much. There are so many business courses and so many business coaches, and some of them are great and some of them are cheap and some of them are expensive and some of them are bad. But basically it comes down to, can I own my own thing, you know? And if somebody says, hey, you have to do this to be in the summit, and then you kind of sit down and try it, you know, and then maybe you do it. Oh, you got a nice comment, Trudy. So I'm going to read it out loud so that it stays. So inspiring, Trudy. I love that you are tapping into your creativity to help others. Awesome. You go and do that. I don't know who wrote that, but thank you. Sorry, we can't see your names, people who comment. We're really sorry, but the platform we are streaming on is not sharing names and pictures. So absolutely sorry, but we thank you anyway, don't we, Trudy?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Does anyone else want to share something about their business growth, or shall I ask another question? Oh, it's Christy. It's Christy. Hi, Christy. Christy's another one of our speakers, for just so you know.
Okay, so I'd like to share. I had like an insight when I was doing my talk as to what I really do for people in my work, right? It's not that I didn't know it before, but this is like a new dimension to the work that I do. Because in my talk, I talk about me. If you haven't seen it, please go and see it. In my talk, I talk about it's called The Magic of the Lowest Point, and I talk about how a very difficult situation in my life taught me what I was really capable of doing, right? And it helped me to really get in touch with my own power, which I hadn't done before. And the thing is that I believe that we all have everything inside of us, everything that we need to do everything that we want to do. It's all already there, but it's like these little seeds, and you choose which seeds you want to water and grow, right? And for me, what drew me to that extreme situation that I talk about on my talk was not being aware of my own power, right? And actually feeling very powerless to change my own situation. And when people come to me in my sessions, I'm sorry, when I talk to them the first time, you know, I have like this gift, and when I see people, I really know, I can see their gifts. I can see what they can do. I can see what they are capable of doing, even if they don't realize it, but I see it very, very clearly. And my job is to help them see what I see, you know. And it's a very beautiful work. So I believe that the reason why I went through what I went through was because it was the only thing. I mean, I needed such an extreme experience in order to wake me up to the truth of who I was. But we don't need, and many people have like these experiences, right? But we don't really need to go to such extremes to really get to know ourselves and to really get to know our own power. So I realized when I was doing my talk, I realized like, wow. So what I do is help people see who they really are and what their real power is, so that they don't have to go through such difficult situations as I did, so that they can learn who they are before the universe has to teach them the lesson in such an extreme way. Because I know that for me, and I'm really grateful for that experience that I had. For me, the universe had been like, you know, giving the message, and you know, once and again and again and again, but I wasn't listening. So I needed this. I needed such a huge thing to wake me up. So I'm really, really grateful. But sometimes, you know, if we are ready to listen to the message, and if we are ready to wake up to the truth of who we are before something so big happens in our lives, then that's wonderful. And that's one of the things that I help people do in our work together. And I hadn't seen it that way before doing the talk, and I felt like it was so beautiful that to be able to really use this thing that I have. I've always had it, and since I was very little, I remember I saw my friends, and I was always encouraging them to do what they wanted to do, and you know, I used to see that in them, and I was really surprised that they didn't see it in themselves. You know, I used to see the power. I used to see the courage. I used to see the drive, and when they didn't see it in themselves, and so I was always like the cheerleader, and I was always like, hey, you can do this, and you know. And it's beautiful to be able to channel all of that into the work that I do, which is something that I hadn't realized. So I'm really grateful.
So cool.
opportunity.
We feel very, very happy for you, I'm sure, that you have kind of given a name to your superpower. You rock, Vivian. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So glad to be part of that, you know. You have
course.
a lovely comment from Christy Iris. I'm going to read it out loud so that it stays in the recording. I loved Vivian's talk. It really inspired one of those instant shifts into a new level of my power right in my kitchen while making a school lunch, but it felt so powerful. Thank you,
Oh my
Christy.
God. That's so lovely, Christy. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to go to my next question, if that's all right with you. And my next question is not business. It's just about the heart. So what would you like? What would you hope that the attendees get from your talk and from the summit as a whole? But from your talk first. So I don't know who wants to go on that one. What would you hope that they take away from your talk? Trudy?
Okay. Anything is possible, really, I think. From my beginnings of life, work as a police officer, and then just finding something that's in one way such a polar opposite of who I was, you know, law and order, justice. But that when I look back, magic was in my life from the very beginning. If only I had opened up to my intuition. And I think the more we pass that down the generations, the more the ripples will grow, and the happier or the easier it will be that we all don't feel like weirdos and we don't feel isolated in what we believe is only us doing it. Because suddenly I found that there is magic absolutely everywhere. And if people can just hear that and go, actually, they're not all completely bonkers, or then that's great. Just take some of the magic, and when you take it, you see more and more and more and more, and the ripples just keep going. And that's my hope for everyone.
That's amazing. I'll take that one for the whole summit as well. Magic everywhere, anything is possible. I'll have that one. Huge red tent all over the planet.
I think that's, you know, there's nothing to add, just to you know, amplify, because you know, when I work with that, sorry, I really need to, that gray stuff, and it's silver and it's magic, and you turn it, and then that's the gift, by the way, that's the finished piece. But it's still the same, it's just in a different form. And when we evolve, we are still the whole, the gem inside of us. Just now we believe it ourselves. And that's the thing. We make it visible, like through the summit. We make ourselves visible because other women are our mirror. We see each other through each other's eyes, and we hear ourselves through the ears of the others, and we reflect, and it can be, you know, one time you make a star, the next time you make something, a shell, or completely different, but still the material is always the same, and that's the magic. So I'm totally with the magic thing, and it's the belief in ourselves. It's not the belief, but it's the deep knowing, the certainty, just that knowing. And for me, it's so important. When I listen to the talks, we touched on spirituality, we touched on the physical, we touched on the mental, on the emotional. And to me, that's so important, that it's not either or, it's always the end, AND. It's always the together, and one time our body screams and says, hey, you forgot your spirituality, or your soul. And sometimes your soul so, but it's always, we are not separated in ourselves, and we are not separated from each other. And I think remembering that we always come together in the end. And yeah, I think as you, Isaiah, you said that we are different from different continents, from different colors. And to me, when you said in your talk about the power of the summit, and to me it says peace. It says, so we work on our inner peace. We find the inner peace. We find that exhale that makes us say, or if we feel the comfort within ourselves, the safety. And when we are connected in ourselves, we can bring peace, because we don't fight in ourselves anymore. And then there's no need to fight anyone else or anything else. So that's it.
Yes, thank you. That I feel that
Can I
must
just
ring
say
a bell for you, Tracy. I was going to say.
May I just
Sure,
say?
be my guest.
So, can I just, bringing that full circle, if I may, if you all put your hand on your heart and feel your heartbeat, okay? Now, in order to get that message through to the heart muscle from the brain, there's this connection, there's this electric spark that has to happen in order for that channel to pump and allow the blood through. I just want you to feel your heart beat and know that every time it beats, it's because the magic of your action potential, your spiritual spark, your essence creates the heartbeat. So when you stop and breathe and feel your heartbeat, we are all connected through that physiology, through that scientific calcium ions moving out and potassium ions moving in. But like you said, Giselle, that also it's physical, but it's mental, it's emotional, and that for me connects all of us, humanity, women, men, they, them, whatever you identify yourself as. If you're breathing and you have a heartbeat, you're connected to someone else who has a heartbeat and is breathing. And then I think I'm just going to go with that and leave it there, because I have to go right now. Okay.
Thank you very much, Tracy.
I just felt so moved to do that.
That was amazing. Thank you very, very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you. I'll see you around.
Thank you. You start, this is where it keeps on moving and growing and evolving. I'm going to go, so please excuse me. Okay.
It's beautiful. That's a very nice
lots of love to all of you.
Bye. See you soon.
Bye.
Okay, sorry. Let's come back from this. Thank you, Gisela. Thank you again, Trudy. Tracy. Sorry, I got really confused here. So I'm gonna do that. Sorry. Yeah, I think. Sorry, tech issue. Where was I? What was the question again? Who am I? What's my name again? Yeah, anyone else wants to share? Sorry, we have another beautiful comment by Christy for Gisela, so I'm going to read that. And then, sorry, I'm just trying. How cool was Gisela creating and sharing from the heart? I love how making jewelry wasn't so mysterious anymore. I think it inspires that one can see it being done, and then we might be able to make something that we are drawn to also. And the summit does that, just seeing women sharing their stories. So yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the question that I originated Gisela's answer and then Tracy's thing was, what would you like attendees to come out of the summit from your talk? What do you want them to take away? Is there anyone else who would like to share on that topic?
I actually wanted to pick up on Gisela sharing about the inner peace, because when I watched Vivian's talk and sharing the story in the end, this wise story about the man who, whatever circumstances happened to him, he was always like, is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? And so that is this feeling of inner peace. And also regarding my talk, where I, like, no matter how deep and dire the situation might look, A, there is another side. B, you can get support, and you have got it in you. You've got the power in you to make it through. And you can stay true to who you are in the center, in this kind of peace center. And then, yes, sometimes we get thrown around, but there is always this coming back to you and to your truth. And also with what I saw in the whole summit and all the talks is this, each one of us is a unique expression of the same kind of stuff inside, right? And it's so needed to have all these flavors. And each one of us is going through hard times at some point. And what you might feel is like a bad part of you, something that should be hidden and shouldn't be seen, that actually doesn't look as bad to another person. And it's not something you need to be ashamed of, because when shame comes into the picture, that's when the conditioning, the societal conditioning happens. And we start asking, well, there must be something wrong with me, obviously. No, there is definitely nothing wrong with you, because you are the true expression of the magic that lives in all of us. Kind of, yeah. I love holding space for that.
That's a good one. So we'll have anything is possible, magic is everywhere, deep trust in yourself, and you are perfect. Yeah, I think that's a nice, takeaway for the attendees. Roughly, I think I remember everything. If I'm not, just listen to the replay. But yeah, I think that for me, it's this empowering, this connection, this sisterhood that I hope female attendees take out of the summit. And as for male attendees or people who do not identify as women, I hope that they are in awe of your stories, of all of your stories. And that's going to get me emotional. Always, because it's amazing what you did and what you loved and the flavors. Indeed, just like Lisa was just saying, it's amazing that we create this reference book, this reference corpus of stories that women and non-women can see, that, we have as many stories as men had, but for millennia, they have been silenced, they have been hidden, they have been shamed. And gosh, I didn't expect that, but I think that it's freaking time that we share those stories and that those stories are heard and shared and repeated, and that they do spark deep trust, deep self-love in each and every attendee, whether male, female, or whatever. So yeah, I don't know if you want more, if you want to discuss more of what you were expecting people to take out of the summit. Anyone? If you want to, I can open that.
I have something, Isaiah. I kind of feel like we're sneaky with this, with inviting women to come participate in the summit, because I think the talks are just a decoy. I think the talks are a decoy, the bigger effect. And, you know, like a woman watching any of these talks, it doesn't matter what the story is, but when you're watching another woman speak about a personal experience, and there are so many unspoken elements to it, right? So you're watching a woman speak, and even though she's talking about a specific experience and actions and consequences, you know that there's more involved, because you know that there's the baggage that comes with being a woman. There are the obligations, the expectations. And so when we speak about how we've handled a situation, we're showing that, like Ruth was talking about, these limiting beliefs that, you know, the conditioning just puts them on us, and we don't even realize they've been there. We don't even realize that we're operating with these limiting beliefs. And when we show women how we have things that we have done, choices that we have made, we may be just lighting up possibilities. Like, I didn't even know that was possible, because I thought these were things that I had to do. I thought these were things that I had to be. And we're showing women that there are other options. And, you know, there's the business growth, there's the physical growth, there's the emotional, there's the spiritual. And we can't really guarantee, if you join the summit, this is going to happen, because you never know what's going to happen. You don't know what someone else's talk is going to show you or inspire in you. You don't know, like, you don't know what new idea is going to be sparked. But it's so funny, because the talks are such a decoy. The talks, it's not about the talks. It's about speaking and being visible and showing these options, or, you know, and it doesn't even matter. I mean, no offense to the women who joined us, it doesn't even matter. You just get a group of women to speak. And, you know, as like if we had a red tent here, and just sharing those experiences and the emotions and the fear and the
Yeah,
love.
I'm going to cut you there, darling, because I disagree. Because there have been groups of women who have been allowed to talk, you know, permitted to talk. But this is not what we're doing here. We are asking women to talk about themselves in an authentic, true way, and this is what is life-changing. This is where we are in a red tent. It's not just any group of women. So first of all, kudos to all of you. But then it's not the way we do it, you and me, is another level of asking them to talk about themselves. So
yeah, just getting
it's
women
not
to
just
talk.
any group of women
getting women-
anywhere.
Well, if we can encourage groups of women anywhere to just get together and talk, and then reflect on the talk, I think the ripples are I think they're so important. We can't know the complete effect, you know, of bringing 12 women together to speak about themselves, to share their experiences and their struggles. It's so hard to quantify, and it's so hard to put a label on it, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for everyone for joining and for bringing all the unique perspectives from, you know, all these different places. And it's just so valuable. That's what I'm getting at, I think. It's just so valuable to let yourself be seen and heard, and to record and to share these experiences with other women.
Yeah, I think it's valuable for you, for me as I do it, for the people who listen to me, for my co-speakers, and ultimately for every woman in the world. And I'm going to go with Katish here, who isn't there. And say that it might, oh, fuck, why? It might even be important for every woman in the past and in the future. That what Ruth was saying, that, you know, it clicks backwards. I think we're healing all the generations as we do this work. And I'm so honored and grateful. Thank you. Oh gosh. Why?
I'd like to say something. So
Yeah, you're releasing with the full moon, Isaiah. There you go.
I know.
I
Go on,
think
Ruth.
when you asked what we hoped people would get from it, I didn't have anything, because the truth is I don't know, and none of us knows the impact, the where, the when, the who. Sometimes we feel like we're just babbling and sharing and venting, but there's wisdom in that, and we don't know. It's the act of coming forward in a genuine way that releases that and makes it possible for that connection.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's not even important that we know what the ripple effect is. I can feel in my gut, in my womb, that there is one.
It's like that Marianne
That's
Williamson quote about how we have no idea how powerful and how far-reaching our existence is. Just the fact that we exist, just the fact that we share and live, we have no idea.
and become visible.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. Exactly. Okay. Well, I think we've roughly reached the end, unless anyone wants to say anything else.
Yeah, can I just share
she's-
something?
Be my guest. We have time.
Just very, very shortly. I saw this morning when I saw my talk, I saw a comment on my talk, which made my day, and it made me so happy. It was from someone who said that they were going through a difficult time in their lives, and seeing my talk inspired them. Like I don't remember exactly the wording, but more or less was like my talk inspired them to view their present situation in a different light. It was something like that, more or less, and it really made my day, because I thought, like, wow, you know, if only one person sees my talk and feels that way, you know, it's been worth it. It's been so worth it, because yeah, when you shift your perspective about what you're going through, everything changes for you, and that was what I wanted to share through my talk. So yeah, when I saw that comment, I thought, like, wow, this is, you know, I can't imagine, as you were saying, right? I can't imagine the impact that all the talks together can have on the people who have watched them, and how that impact will be carried on to other people that haven't watched the talks, because of how we change when we listen to these powerful stories. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly. That seems like a good ending too. We seem to be much wisdom today, don't we? Thank you. Thank you very much. In case you are an attendee or just passing by on this live and you have no idea that there is a Women Lighting the Way Summit, you will find the link below the video. I invite all of the speakers to share the links in their groups and Facebook places and YouTube places, because there are free replays for 7 days for all the talks. We are not finished. You can still get the freebies. You can still get the amazingness of each of our 13 speakers for another 7 days. And there might even be a surprise after 7 days. Who knows? Chris and myself, we love surprises. But for now, please register. It's free. There is also, I need to mention that, there is also a possibility if you want to buy the summit. So you can buy the whole package for $39. And this money is used to pay for expenses for the summit platform. We do not make any money, Chris and myself, out of this summit. We whatever is left after paying for the summit platform, we give to Kiva. So Kiva is an organization that helps women and men, by the way, and makes micro loans all over the world to people who are not trustworthy enough for the banks. And we've decided last year to share with Kiva. So what we love about that is that it's loans. So when we are reimbursed, we give it again and again and again. And we've decided to only give to women and only give to women entrepreneurs. So we are lighting the way in this small aspect too, a completely different sphere, and helping women from third world countries create their little business with these loans, which makes me very, very happy again. So it's another ripple effect, if you want, another type of ripple effect. The official recorded talks have all been released now, so you can have access to all the replays as soon as you sign up and all the freebies. And this panel will be live in 20 minutes as well in the Summit platform, in case you're watching us on the social media for now. And my last words would be thank you. My first thank you would be to Chris. And again, gosh, Tracy and her thingy, put your hand on your heart, destroyed me for today. Thank you, Chris, for the name and the inspiration of this summit. Thank you to each and every one of you speakers, whether you're here today or whether you're not, whether you did participate in a panel, whether you did not. And Katish, I'm so freaking sorry that you weren't here to share your amazingness live, but I just want you to know, attendees, go and watch Katisha speak. Its talk is just, it's just another, it's kind of another dimension altogether. So yeah, thank you to each and every one of the speakers. Thank you also to each and every one of the attendees. This is how we change the world. Thank you for participating. I don't know if anyone wants to add something. Otherwise, goodbye. Oh, and by the way, we will still be here next year. There is going to be a 2023 edition for the Women Lighting the Way Summit. If you want to participate as a speaker, reach out to us. And, you know, we'll start discussing that in a while. For now, I think both Chris and myself, we need some rest because this has been kind of a, yeah, it is. It's a space holding situation, and the tech has not been easy on us this year, as it never is. So thank you very much to the tech gods who have allowed this, because as I was saying, just before we began this, yesterday, 10 minutes after the live panel finished, I lost electricity altogether. So thank you for allowing that everything went smoothly, and well, see you next year. Bye for now.
Thank you, Isaiah. Bye.
Bye.